Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I am a voice teacher. Today I will be reacting to and analyzing Panic at the Disco performing Say It Ain't So, the Weezer song.
Somebody's honey is crowding my icebox. Somebody's cold one is giving me chills. Guess I'll just close my eyes. Oh yeah, alright. Feels good inside.
So far he hasn't had to get loud. It's just kind of like he's speaking it on pitch. It sounded at the beginning like he might have been a little tired or had something in his throat or something, but as it's gone on, it's kind of cleared up. So I don't know if it was a stylistic thing at the beginning or if it was a physical thing that was actually on his folds that was making it sound weird or like mucus, but it sounded like it sort of cleared up as it went on. I don't know. There's not really anything to say so far. He's just doing it on pitch well and not overdoing anything with his mouth or underdoing anything. It's fine.
Flip on the telly.
Now he adds a little bit more chord closure.
Jimmy, something is bubbling behind my back.
And then it got a little bit more breathy after he went up to the G. So it was interesting when he went to the part right before, his vocal folds started coming together a little bit more, which prepared him for that G, because if he was singing it in the way that he was right previously, which was a little bit breathier, it was fine, but it wasn't like preparing for high notes, it probably wouldn't have been as successful or as strong when he went up to that high note. That said, he didn't bear down. He didn't squeeze in preparation for it. He just was like, nope, a little bit more closure. That said, I don't think that he was thinking about having a little bit more closure or anything, because that's not a thing that most artists think about when they're singing. This is a thing that I, the dumb voice teacher, thinks about when listening to other voices. But when you're actually in the moment and performing like this, don't think about like the physical stuff and about the minutia about what's happening. Think about what tones you want to create and what emotions you want to get through. And with him, who knows what his motivation was, but it set him up well so that he didn't like completely yell that high note, but it worked. It just worked really well.
Vowel is ready to blow.
He does use his jaw a little bit to get his very distinctive vibrato. If he was taking lessons from me, I would probably not want to change that, to be honest, because it's become such a definitive part of his sound. And when you're working with artists who have a very defined sound already, you need to maintain that sound while just making everything as easy as possible. So, you know, a lot of times when the jaw gets involved with vibrato, that results in a little bit of jaw tension, and that tension feeds down, and everything just gets tense in your throat, and then it can kind of shut down. But if you've proven that you can do that reliably and that it's not creating very much tension, it's fine. You can get away with a little bit of that. That said, if you're not already Brendon Urie, don't try to do that. Don't make that part of your sound because, one, it's his. Two, it's not as efficient if you're starting from scratch to build a voice around having a little bit of like a shaky jaw vibrato. It just doesn't work as well. Yeah, He's changing everything completely when he's singing his lower notes. It's becoming a little bit breathier. It's not as vibrant sounding, which is fine. Like, it doesn't all need to be this really big sound. And I think that it actually gives the song a little bit more movement to sing those lower notes a little bit breathier with a little bit more of a closed jaw shape. Because that vowel shape, like if he did the vowels for his lower notes the same way he's doing his higher notes, which is straight down, say it ain't so, da 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 da. It completely changes the sound doing that, even if he kept it a little bit breathier. So I think that what he's doing for his lower notes is actually working. That said, if you're preparing for your high notes like that, the high notes aren't going to work as well. So you can see when he makes this switch, when he's preparing for high notes, when the next phrase is going toward a high note, and he changes how he makes his sound, because what he's doing right now, it just doesn't work as you go higher.
That which might hurt you, so try and be cool. But when they say, this way is a water slide away from me that takes a fuller every day. Hey, so be cool. Say it ain't so. Your drug is a heartbreaker.
His internal structure, what he's doing with his larynx, what he's doing with his vocal folds, and everything has been so ingrained in him that I don't know if he could mess up when he goes to those higher notes, because it's so thin, and then his vowel shape is so good, and that vowel shape just feeds back this energy, helping to stabilize the vocal folds. Like, he's a great singer. He's a really good singer. Watch his tongue too. It's the tip of his tongue is always on his bottom teeth or his bottom lips. It's all just la 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 la, which is great. If your tongue starts pulling back a little bit, it starts sounding muffled, and it just doesn't work as well. So that's actually a quick thing that pretty much anyone can do, because most people are gonna be pulling their tongue back to some degree. So whenever you're doing a repetition, whenever you're practicing a song, I think it's good to focus on like one thing at a time, because it's impossible to focus on more than one thing at a time. And even if your teacher gives you a lot of different instructions and it's like, let's think about this and this and this and this and this, that's too much to think about on one repetition. So just when you're singing through a song or singing through a phrase, focus on one of those things. Okay, I will focus on keeping my tongue in that place. Cool. Then do that like 15 times so that your body gets a chance to kind of internalize that structure so that you don't have to think about it. Like, Brendon's not thinking about it. He's thinking about performing. He's thinking about being a pop star. I don't know what he's thinking about. He's communicating with us. But he's not thinking about his tongue. I guarantee that. And that's because he's had these millions of repetitions where it's in the right place. So focus one time on that. And then the next time, if they have something with your posture, focus on that. Or if they have something with your breathing, focus on that. Or if they have something on all of those other things, just choose one at a time, because otherwise it's going to be impossible. And if you're trying to focus on like 10 things at once, you're going to give none of them the sort of value that they deserve.
Dear Daddy, I write you in spite of years of silence.
See, this part, he's already in that preparing for a high note sort of vocal tone. The color is totally different than when he was singing the verses, now that he's at the bridge, because it's about to jump up another octave. So his vocal folds are already coming together, because if they weren't coming together like this to create this sort of more clear sound and with a little bit of better vowels, it's going to be such a drastic shift when he goes to those high notes. There's just no point. Like, prepare for it well, and then you don't need to change anything drastically. It's just little gradual changes as you start going higher.
You cleaned up, found Jesus, things are good, or so I hear. This bottle of Stevens awakens ancient feelings, like father, stepfather, the sun is drowning in the flood. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And the vibrato, I think that it's just accentuated by his jaw, because his jaw isn't like going super crazy, but there is a little bit of extra movement there that isn't the standard thing from every singer, or that like vocal teachers usually want, but it's fine. So with this last section, he didn't increase the weight, he just increased the intensity. So he could have easily started just like almost yelling, bearing down a lot more, just getting his vocal folds to come together quite a bit more, but he's keeping them thin, so it's almost like his vocal folds, the laryngeal position is the same as what he was doing before it got this intense, but he's just like making his face look more intense, and he is adding a little bit of rasp and a little bit more intensity, but because the vocal folds are staying thin, it's supporting all of that. It's not blowing out. It doesn't sound like it's going to be traumatizing to the vocal folds. It sounds like it feels easy to him. His vowels are great. His mouth shape is basically the same for all of his vowels when he goes to those high notes, and then we're just getting the clarity because of what he's doing with his tongue. So his mouth shape is pretty much just this ba ba so ya dang so oh oh. And then when he goes to some of those O's and U's, he does let his lips kind of protrude out, which helps radiate the sound toward, well, the microphone, but toward anything. And it also just gives it a little bit more of a warm sound when he kind of does that. And all of these things contribute to what his voice sounds like, to what his style is, to the recognizability of Brendon Urie. And it works so well. Like when you're up at those high notes, you kind of need that much space, or else it's going to start sounding really compressed, or it's going to not feel good, or just everything is going to be bad. So he's doing it right. Imitate his vowel shapes 100%. Like, they are so good. And you can do that by looking in the mirror when you're practicing your own stuff. Just go into your bathroom or wherever you have a mirror and just sing while looking in the mirror and see if you're moving your mouth in a similar way. Ba, 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 when you're singing those super high notes. That's above your first passaggio. Passaggio. And I don't see any tension in his jaw when he's doing that. Yeah, he sounds great. He sounds great. His vowels are awesome. Like, he is a super pop star. Even though you see some intensity and you see like some bulging in his neck and all of that, that's kind of natural. So that's not like, that's just a sign that you can use to kind of get the bigger picture. And if everything else is kind of working well, then some of those little signs, it's like, okay, maybe that's just helping him get that style. And then it's up to the performer to decide, am I able to repeat this 8 times a week, or however many times for a full set that you need to actually do, because that's how you're fit for it, right? Like, fitness in terms of body health is the ability to do your activities, to do whatever you're required to do and be able to do that well. With him, he's vocally fit because he's able to sing all of these songs, he's able to sing all of these sets and go through reliably, and he's able to trust all of that. If he wasn't able to do that, or if things were getting really, really hard, that's where a vocal teacher becomes kind of useful. Where, like for him, maybe he doesn't need one, or maybe he has one and he just checks in with him a little bit or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what his deal is. But, you know, that's up to him to decide, do I need to like kind of go into the mechanic to go get my car tuned up to make sure that I can get through all of these things? But right now he's singing so well. I don't know. There's not much to say to like try to fix about it. The only things that kind of pop out are like, okay, let's make sure that the jaw is as loose as it possibly can be. Let's make sure that you're not tightening up your abs when you're going toward those really, really high notes. But the rest of it sounds super sustainable. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below, share this with your friends, and ring the bell so that you can get any of my new videos delivered straight to your computers as soon as they happen. And also go check out the link in my description. Go join my Discord because it's fun. And thank you